For much of the 20th century, the city of Flint, Michigan, about an hour's drive north of Detroit, was at the center of General Motors' vast industrial empire, the largest and most profitable corporation in the world. At its peak in 1978, nearly 90,000 workers labored in the city's engine, stamping, and assembly plants, churning out Buicks, Chevrolets, and GM trucks and buses. GM's local payroll was over $2 billion, and the living standards won by auto workers gave the city the highest per capita income in the nation. Flint is also the birthplace of the United Auto Workers, which was established in the 44-day sit-down strike at General Motors in 1936 and 37. That struggle, led by socialist-minded militants, mobilized mass support in the working class against the brutal conditions in the factories, the dictatorial foreman system, and the use of company thugs and National Guardsmen. Today, there is little more than an historical marker to the sit-down strike, next to a massive concrete slab on Chevrolet Avenue where the plants were demolished in 2004. The UAW long ago repudiated these militant traditions, and for decades it has served as a labor policeman that has suppressed every struggle against the corporations in the name of labor management partnership and Buy American nationalism. After decades of deindustrialization, there are fewer than 5,000 GM workers left in the city today. The forced bankruptcy of GM will mean more plant closings, layoffs, and a further decimation of the city's 120,000 residents, who already suffer from one of the highest poverty rates in the nation.
Yeah, this is the last GM plant in Flint.
Right. I mean, the thing about it in the Flint area, I mean, I have, my whole family has worked at a GM plant. Had I worked at the shop, I'd have been a fourth generation shop worker, So for me to watch, it's weird, it's ever since I've been around. I mean, you can see streets that you didn't used to be able to see anymore, because there was a plant there. Now you can look across, it's just wide open field. So
acres and acres of concrete, bare concrete.
Yeah, we were just down Chevrolet Avenue and looked at that slab.
I mean, I'm
going to go try to hand out some
my great-grandpa worked at Fisher Body. My grandpa worked at Metal Fab out in Grand Blanc. My dad works here. It's just weird.
And right now, I say over 30% of Flint, Michigan is drawing unemployment. Over 30% is on welfare, government assistance. If they take away government assistance, really, Flint is not going to be a place a lot of people is going to want to stay, because right now, if everybody's robbing and killing everybody right now, when they take all the stuff away, all the government assistance, all the jobs, the factory closed, it's going to be hell. My grandfather, he retired from GM plant. He's been retired for 15 years. He does pull retirement checks. He has all benefits. About my grandfather, like I said, he's been retired for years now. But only thing I can say is I can get him out of Flint. That's the only thing I can do. I'm saving money to get out of Flint myself. Like I said, there's nothing here. But for my grandfather, I can only pray to God that they straighten all this stuff out, because without his retirement checks, all his benefits and all that, my grandfather is surely enough to die.
My dad works for Delphi down in Pontiac, and he's like one of the lucky ones that normally always gets called back. But, with them closing or trying to liquidate whatever, it's a possibility that he can't get his job back. So we plan on moving to Las Vegas and stuff. It's real difficult now, so...
What about getting jobs once you're out of school? What's the prospects for young people in Flint?
You have to be very, very educated. Mm-hmm. And nowadays, I can't even tell you, because it's not very many jobs up in Flint. So you probably have to move out of Flint to get a good job and to start a good life. Mm-hmm.
Under the terms of the restructuring of GM demanded by the Obama administration, auto workers will face a sharp deterioration in wages, benefits, and working conditions.
So many thousands of retirees out there over the years, they want us to bring our wages down to compete with Toyota, Honda, or the southern states, where they have no union. They don't have as many pension, retirees yet. We're supposed to be a world-class worker. They want us to go down to the Second World War, Second World
Right.
tier, whatever they make. They want us to lower our standard.
Right.
And that's another thing.
Workers at the Flint truck assembly plant, which is shutting down its heavy-duty truck line, laying off 500 workers, expressed their anger over the way workers were being treated as compared to Washington's bailout of the Wall Street banks.
You seen it on the news the other day where they were yelling at AIG for giving their CEOs bonuses. They got a slap on the wrist. Did they have to pay any of that money back? No. Have they paid it back? Well, they told them they had to, but they didn't. But our guys, our GM guys, go to GM, Chrysler, and Ford. All go to freaking Washington in their corporate jet, but they get yelled at.
Mm-hmm.
But these banks go in there in corporate jets, fancy cars, and nothing happens to them.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, Wall Street's got enough money as it is.
Right.
We're the ones that work. All those guys do is push pencils and push buttons. They're
right.
not the ones out here on the line and working. So, as far as I'm concerned, Wall Street can go to hell.
Facing a $20 million deficit, the Flint public schools are closing 8 facilities, including Central High School.
I mean, it's real hard, and we trying to find a good future, saying a path to lead of good stuff. Guess they stay away from the bad negativity. It's just rough because all the school closing. We're gonna be bunched up at schools next year.
They're closing Central next year, you said?
Yes, sir. They're closing Central High School, so we about to be deep up in school. Like a lot of kids been one class. Yep, like 40 students. Yep.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Obama giving money to the Wall Street bankers who lost all their gambling bets, and yet when it comes to meeting the needs for schools, for decent jobs, they say there's no money?
It's money. I don't know what they did to it, but it's there. Somebody, I just know it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And billions and trillions of dollars that you just can't lose that much money like that.
Mm-hmm.
But too many people are willing to just go with the flow.
What do you think is going to change that? I mean, after all, our grandfathers right here in this city organized sit-down strikes in the Depression in the 1930s. I mean, people fought.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I think that's what needs to be done again.